So we're going to get started here right now. Okay, so welcome back, everybody, to another week of Jobstickers Jobseekers Resource Group. I'm your host, 𝗪𝗏𝗀, and like last week when we had the interview expert 𝗧𝗿𝗰𝗀 on, this week I wanted to reach out to another friend and colleague, Rhett Butler. Rhett, nice to see you, Rhett. And Rhett came to me as a client, and we're still engaged. And Rhett is one heck of a networker. So if you want to, after the call, ask about how you should be when you're networking with people, talk to Rhett, because somehow he hook, line, and sinkered me to the point now where we could just riff on any subject. And he's just such a good guy, always has something funny to say. But what's interesting about Rhett is, you know, his background is in continuous improvement. And as we engage in our career journey, and as you're in the pits of work and you're just doing the grind every day, it can get lost in the shuffle of things you're actually advancing at the company, or perhaps fixing at the company, or, you know, whatever. So in my world, I call them business quantifiers, right? So you're reducing waste, or you're driving revenue, you're streamlining efficiency. And these things are just operational speak, but they make sense, because when you are doing your day-to-day, and if you're going above and beyond, you might start implementing some of these you know, tactics, or you might be doing some methodologies that really focus on making things better. And I found, just from working this for 15 years, that a lot of my clients that exceed and do well are ones that go above and beyond, are always trying to have a knack for how can they do things better. And so I wanted to bring on Rhett just to kind of give you guys some insights about continuous improvement and how it can maybe work within your world of work, no matter what you're doing. And so essentially, and know that this will be, this is recording, so this will be on YouTube afterwards, as well as my sites, so you can go back and see it and kind of take notes as you go. So don't feel like you got to frantically take notes now. But again, I just want to thank Rhett for coming on. And we want to start off, essentially, I don't want to throw you off, Rhett. I forgot to probably ask this question on the notes, but can you tell us just what is continuous improvement? What's the idea of process improvement?
Okay. First, you have two different types of improvements. A lot of people or companies will confuse. That's continual improvement, which is where you'll make an improvement and you have your goal and you just strive to reach that goal the whole time. Continuous improvement is you set your goal, you have your vision, but you'll make an improvement and then stabilize your process. Find out what you did at work, and then you'll make your next improvement till you hit that plateau. And you're setting small steps to reach that goal instead of trying to go all out and hit it one time. Mm-hmm. That way you're stabilizing your process, and you may find out once you reach that plateau, your goals may actually change. I mean, whenever you set up like a 2-year goal in mind, things are evolving so quickly. By the time you get to that end of the 2 years, what you may have been working for the whole time may not even exist anymore.
Right.
So continuous improvement allows you to make your small steps. You say, I'm here. Where do I want to be? What do I have to do from here to reach there? You realize it's small incremental steps.
Excellent.
You record your process, and you realize there's no such thing as perfection. Your whole goal is what the customer says they need and they want and makes them happy.
Right. I love that. And you're exactly right on. And first off, customers can be internal and external. So don't think he means, you know, this could be your boss or your colleagues too, as customers that are coming to you. But also, he's right in saying that as you're in the line of work, notice what you're doing with these improvements and track them. And I've preached this before in previous seminars, that you got to have some of the meat that you've been actually doing on the job ready for your resume, because in 2 years you might forget about these neat little improvements, as he's saying. So track like he just said. I'm glad you said that. Now, what kind of improvements would transfer to any type of role, would you say? What are things that you notice that can kind of resonate with a lot of different roles or industries?
You can't be afraid of doing research.
Okay.
And in doing that research, you're benchmarking what you're doing against that same job in other companies, because you can't say they're the golden standard, because like we've already stated, it's continuously changing. Right. So you have to say, and today it's the American car companies saying we've got to match Toyota. I'm sorry, Toyota isn't going to stand still and wait for you to catch up.
Right.
When you're making that climb, they're going to continue going forward. So unless you circumvent around them, you have to know what they're doing compared to what you're doing. Okay. So do your research, benchmark that same position against that same position in another company, take the best parts of it, see what you can use that as an idea to improve upon the process you have, but don't take that as written in stone as being the only way it can be done. That's the biggest thing about continuous improvement. Every document you write down as far as your process is a living document.
Right.
Tomorrow, you may walk up to me and say, well, what if we try this way? Well, let's go ahead and try it. That's the whole point, experimentation. If you show me a better way, you have just thrown the way I say to do it out the window, and I'm more than happy to see it. Let's go ahead and change it to that way until somebody else finds a better way that's sustainable and gives us a platform to continue our improvement.
Excellent. Oh, well said. I appreciate that. And what are some things workers can think of or be aware of during their day-to-day that they can use as accomplishments on their resume relating to this theme? I mean, what are you noticing that maybe they should kind of have those in the back of their heads constantly as they're doing the grind, to just kind of keep them in check, to know that they should be monitoring any sort of improvement that they're doing? Any sort of tips or tricks or anything like that you can think of?
Well, the biggest thing is Deming himself, W. Edwards Deming said, a process cannot observe itself. So while you're in the grind, it's very hard for you to think about anything else is set for doing what's right in front of you.
Right.
Take those little bit of times to come in a little early before your shift starts and observe what other people doing your job are doing. Compare that to how you're doing. During your break time, you can kind of come back a little bit earlier. You know, a lot of places have people who come in and fill in for the breaks. So, they may be more experienced than you are. Talk with the people on the line with you. Don't never feel like you're so stressed to the point where you don't have the time to actually look up from what you're doing and notice what's going on behind you and in front of you on the line. Because like you stated so well before, everybody in the business, the internal customers are the people who get your input to you and that you give your output to. And that can be some of the best feedback that you could ever have.
That's great. I appreciate that. And I'll also add on too is, you know, when you are working and you're responsible for some KPIs or perhaps reports, and not everybody, but sometimes you will have to turn in something or track something against the following week or month or what have you. Understand what you're writing or what you're being held accountable for from the managerial standpoint, because those are the numbers or those are the themes you can incorporate in your resume, and they're giving them to you on these reports. So if you get any sort of, even performance evaluations might open up a little bit of that. Use that to your advantage and in your arsenal for when you're starting to recreate the resume. Great job on that, Rhett. And the final question is, any last advice that you wanted to share? I know you had sent me a list of some things that I was really impressed with. You did a lot of good thinking there. What else do you want to let the audience know that's just off the top of the head that you want to kind of leave them with that might resonate?
Today we're faced with two different types of managing styles. One is the classic, and the other one is the new lean management style. And lean tends to give more power to the workers. And your managers, another point is the managers today need to understand statistical variation. The numbers you said, you know, that track your key points of interest You have to understand there's a statistical high and statistical low. Just because somebody had 9, 12, 15, then went down to 7, if your low is a 3 and your high is a 20, guess what? They're right there in line with what they should be doing. Don't put such a laser focus on the exact day-to-day numbers. Be able to track your common and special causes so you know where to focus and make your processes more efficient.
That's great. Hey, I appreciate that, Rhett. And thank you for joining today with us and being a guest speaker. We'll definitely have you back on. I'm always interested in this, the improvement theme, because again, this is a nice structure for you to be thinking in terms of that resume and how to boost your visibility by having more, just more wins and achievements. And those always go back to improvement, whether it's, you know, you're improving your relations with the customers so you could do more upsales, or, you know, you're improving the way that the workers in your department are being efficient in a function. And by how? Because maybe you know, you got rid of something that was just dragging everybody down or whatever. So, you know, just think of like why you are making such a good impact at work and let that shine on the resume. Because again, task stuff, that's boring. We want to get stuff that's going to show why you offer the value. What's your unique selling position? What makes 𝗬𝗎, 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 Rhett, you know, what makes us us, and how do we communicate that to these readers that might not know us from Adam or Alice? So, you know, again, improvements, constantly be thinking of them. And that kind of concludes the show this week, guys. You know us, we're 10-15 minute increments, little bite-sized chunks. I will be posting this again on YouTube afterwards. So if you have any questions, ping me, let me know, or Rhett. Rhett Butler is on LinkedIn. I will throw up his, I should have had this already ready, but sorry about that. I will throw up his URL right here if you want to ask him anything specific. He is a wealth of knowledge. And you know, honestly, Rhett, you are the man with networking. I just I don't know, bud, you know how to do it right. So I always kind of commend you for that, and look forward to our continued engagement. And I will see everybody next week, Tuesdays on Facebook at 2, Wednesdays LinkedIn at 2. And thank you again for all your support. And yeah, just make it a good work week, guys. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye, 𝗬𝗎.
Bye.